Ever since I've arrived in a very wet Goa to drive Tata Motors' all-new compact sedan, the Zest, I've heard dozens of puns on that name. Has your day been zesty enough? Can we add some zest to spice up your experience? Are you feeling zesty enough? Well, let's just leave all those poor puns aside and let's focus on this car. This is a very important sedan for Tata Motors because the Zest clearly defines the path Tata Motors will tread on for the next generation, probably for the next decade. And that makes it terribly important. Now, what the Zest clearly intends to do is throw away all the baggage that Tata Motors has accumulated in the last generation of cars and, of course, stand on the same stage alongside its peers at the same level. So can the Zest do that is exactly what I'm here to find out. One of Tata Motors' key pillars that defines the next generation of their cars is design, or what Tata Motors likes to call design next in Pratap Bose's own words. But what this principally focuses on is giving a clear, distinct identity to the next generation of cars in terms of design and style. As you can see, this is a whole new look for this sedan, and clearly defined, clearly identified by these striking lines running across the grille, which Tata Motors likes to call the humanity line. This, along with the lower bumper treatment, the air dam kind of effect, and of course this bulge on the hood that you can see out here, these are clear identities for the generation of cars to follow from Tata Motors. If you follow me up towards the back, you'll see these wraparound headlamps with the projector lamps in them, something that you very rarely see in this segment. Also these LED driving lamps, which are just coming into fashion as of late, along with these driving lamps over here. And if you move further to the side profile, you've got this strong shoulder line and you've got another character line running at the base. And this effectively breaks, or rather gives the car, the side profile of this car, some amount of visual relief. A lot of other identities, a lot of other elements on the side profile are quite new. But moving on towards the rear, you've got these dual tail lamps, quite a nice design, pleasant to look at. I don't find it a very attractive or striking rear end, but nonetheless it's new, and that is what will catch a lot of people's attention. Also along here there's another important line. It's called the slingshot line, and it wraps itself around the Zest, goes in from the front fender, comes all the way around the back and goes on to the left side. And this effect is intended to give it a sense of motion, a sense of dynamism. And yes, in several ways I do think this car looks dynamic. I do wish there was a little more streamlining to the overall shape, a little more compactness. It still looks a little bulky to me, and a lot of the aesthetics would have come from a sleeker, slimmer design. Nonetheless, it is a good car to look at, a car that will grab a lot of attention on our roads. Past baggage that weighed Tata Motors down was the quality of materials, build quality and reliability. That they have put in a lot of work to clean those shortcomings clearly shows. Build quality is impeccable, no panel gaps exist, and material quality too is significantly better, sober and sophisticated. Where reliability is concerned, it's too early to pass judgment on that count, but seeing the quality on display, I do think the cars will stand the test of time. The features Tata Motors offers in this car are way smarter and advanced than what others in the segment have to offer. For instance, the top-of-the-line Zest gets a state-of-the-art Harman touchscreen infotainment system that offers voice recognition functionality and has features like SMS readout and voice-activated air conditioning control. So you get everything that you want from the state-of-the-art audio-visual system, which makes it a phenomenally high-value package. Where dimensions and interior space are concerned, the Tata Zest stays under that 4-meter bracket. And you'd expect it not to be too roomy, but if you remember, the Indica Vista, the Manza, extremely spacious cars. If there was one thing going for those cars, it was the interior space available in those cabins, and that philosophy has stayed true, has continued to stay true in the Tata Zest as well. It's not much to look at when you're standing on the outside, but get inside this cabin and there is enough knee room, there's enough headroom, and of course there's enough shoulder room as well for 5 passengers, for 5 occupants in this cabin. To say that the Zest is an entirely new car isn't entirely true, principally because the engine under the hood of this car Well, there is a petrol. It's entirely new, admit that. The Revitron 1.2-litre turbo petrol is completely new. But the diesel, which of course will sell in larger numbers, I presume will sell in larger numbers, is still the same old Quadrajet, which has been used in previous generation Tata Motor cars. The 1.2 petrol called the Revitron, that's a turbocharged multi-point fuel injected petrol engine, and Tata Motors likes to claim that it's the first turbocharged petrol in the segment. But to be honest, we already have the EcoBoost from Ford, which is a 1-litre turbocharged petrol, and you've got the Volkswagen Polo's TSI, another petrol turbocharged engine. Tata Motors claim can only be laid to the 1.2-litre petrol. Having said that, however, the petrol engine is fairly competent. It's very refined. I'm quite impressed by the refinement levels of that engine. But more than the refinement, what I'm even more impressed with is the way that engine performs. I've been driving the petrol all across Goa. We've gone uphill and downhill, and especially on the inclines with 3 people in this car. That car's made that gradient up very easily in 3rd gear. So yes, I am highly impressed by that engine. This diesel engine is the same as the previous generation Quadrajet, so you get 90 PS of max power and 200 Newton meters of max torque. It isn't the most refined engine in this segment, but having said that, it's torquey, it's efficient, and well, there's one difference to this engine. Tata Motors is offering the option of an automated manual transmission unit only with the diesel engine. Now the AMT, we first saw Maruti introduce that in the Celerio, and we knew back then that Tata Motors also intended to introduce the AMT transmission, and they've done so first in the Zest, and it will then follow in the rest of the passenger cars that Tata Motors has to offer. So what does the AMT feel like? Well, if you leave it in automatic mode, it is a bit sluggish, but put it into manual, shift gears as you deem fit, and this definitely is a much more competent transmission. Like any other manufacturer, there are several partners involved in the making of the Zest, and a lot of those partners have made significant contributions to build this car. A lot of input has come from these internationally renowned partners, which Tata Motors has accepted, and that of course has made the Zest a better car than anything Tata Motors has ever built. Bosch, for one, has helped develop the engine management system for both the diesel and the 1.2-litre Revitron petrol. With that management system, the Revitron 1.2 optimally adjusts between 3 driving modes: an eco mode for the best economy, a default city mode that balances both performance and efficiency, and of course you get the sport mode for best performance. How this works? The engine management system controls throttle inputs and power delivery for the desired output. AVL helped refine the intake side of things on the Zest to get better efficiencies and reduce emissions. In the same manner, Elrin Klinger assisted in reducing frictional losses in the piston and piston rings to enhance longevity, improve refinement, and enhance efficiencies. To put the Tata Zest on an even platform with the rest of the cars in the segment, one of the efforts has been to give the Zest a very premium feel, and part of that premium or luxury feel comes from the lack of noise inside this cabin. Less noise is definitely a lot more comfortable, and to do that, Tata Motors provide each of the cars with 3 layers of sound insulation. There is a absorptive layer inside the engine bay, then there is a reflective layer inside the cabin, followed by another absorptive layer on top of that. A fairly grey area for Tata Motors passenger cars business in the past was the safety and integrity of their crash structures. But Tata Motors have effectively worked on bringing light to that area. All cars, the Zest, the forthcoming Bolt, and even future cars have been or will be crash tested to understand and reduce collision casualties. You also get the latest generation ABS system with electronic brake force distribution, and there are airbags for both driver and passenger. On the ride and handling front, I'd say I'm suitably impressed with what this car has to offer. The ride quality isn't bad at all, but then neither was the ride quality too bad in the previous generation cars as well. However, Tata Motors has taken this to a whole new level. They've reworked a lot of components on the suspension, they've reworked a lot of components on the chassis, and effectively that has improved ride quality. It's also improved handling and stability. Of course, you now get 15-inch wheels and tires, and that adds to the stability at high speed and of course the ride quality as well. What I appreciate most about the Tata Zest is that it isn't an out-of-the-box solution. This is just simply taking the box, cleaning it up, polishing it, softening the edges, and of course sprucing everything that needed to be done with the last generation of cars. It is a fantastic job. This car is capable of standing up against any other car in this segment with its head held high. And that is a very impressive job indeed.